Good morning, folks. It's 11:30 in the morning here in Liverpool, England. Excuse all that record. On the ninth month, the 27th day, 2025. We're getting close to the 28th over in Australia. And I'm going to check to see if everything is running. Yeah, it looks like it is. Good, good. Do I hear sound? Yes, it's all running and good, so I can see the comments. Right. I'm going to get on with this now. It's been a horrible last few days of chemtrails and combined conditions over ice. Back in 2016, in October I've seen very similar deployments as I've been seeing over the last few days over Australia here, particularly in the border region here. Hinterlands, Northern Rivers, Crafts Harbor, all this in here. It's been absolutely horrendous. You can go back here to yesterday. You still see some more of these conditions. I'm going to remind you of a little bit of history that happened in 2016. There was terrible chem bomb deployments that started out in the Great Australian Bight. And then the next day they did it a little further north into the plains areas and towards what I call the trough in the mountains of Canberra, and then right out of the cities proper the next day. And within 4 or 5 days after that deployment on the last day, or 7 days after the initial deployment, which I can show you what it looked like. This is 2016, and I'm going to go back a few days to the 24th of October. Now you've seen this deployment here. And the day before, not that type of deployment. But this here, I recognized it immediately as a method that was documented that was used in Operation Popeye and over the Ho Chi Minh Trail and other methods and ways of controlling rain and conditions and sickening people over there during that war, and it did quite a job on that. And this is also a known defoliant way of spraying Agent Orange. And I went, oh my God, look what they can do to us. And I actually issued a toxic air alert that day and clicked off my video, and it's something I don't do very often. You got to be a tough nut to describe the burden of the Hindenburg every day, and let alone the arrival of like the angel of death looking clouds. And this was the next day, on the 25th of October as they went towards the middle, right? And this all was falling out, and the winds were taking it places. You see that there, the direct deployment over Sydney and over Newcastle that was done in October 25th of 2016. I recognize what I'm showing you today is something that has historically caused illness, caused malaise, miasmic conditions, or asthmatic conditions as I'm calling them, and I called this chem bomb asthma, and I predicted it would kill people. And within 7 days of this deployment here, over the Great Australian Bight here, outside of, and this one was directly affecting Adelaide, see, people started dying, and they called it thunderstorm asthma. Well, when I was growing up and learning about weather and rain and stuff, it took a particle of dust to make a raindrop, and that rain actually cleared the air out of pollen and stuff. So I was suddenly hearing something that was counterintuitive, or I was listening to somebody pissing down my back and told me it's raining, kind of a thing. And I was listening to lies, Bombala, very, very appropriately named. And so they bombed you out then, very similar to like they've done over the last 3 days. And so I can go over to like now. And this was the 26th, and I'll go back to the 25th, and here's on the 24th. Okay, so it's almost 9 years to the month. It's 8 years and 11 months to the day that they did the chem bombing. And here's a picture of the crush that you've seen on my wall today. And that's a very recent picture. That was from September 24th. Look at these thick ropes of chem. I have to point out a natural contrail should dissipate it gets close to the ambient air temperature around which it was formed. Which altitude affects that and stuff, and ambient means the surrounding temperature, in which case the condensate can no longer exist. So something is in the sky that these planes are condensating when they fly through it, because this cloud of crap is above that cloud. So you have to start determining where did the chemicals come from that the planes themselves are condensating into these chemtrail lines that we've been seeing. And it was the 24th. These are not naturally occurring cloud formations here, folks. This is geoengineering cut and dry. And whether you believe in it or not is inconsequential to the fact that it can sicken you anyhow. And here it was on the 25th. Again, you see in the sickness mix over the top of you. And that's what I call this, because statistically, sickness has followed it, as well as sales of product being proposed by the states themselves and governments around the world after such conditions that were actually put in your sky. And they caused the asthmas. And now are they predicting thunderstorm asthma again? Well, here again, the same look preceding these illness warnings. Like, it could change the spelling of this to C-O-U-G-H harbor over here, because you'll be coughing over here, and there's been days of toxic air. And what goes up does what? It falls down. This isn't Chicken Little over here telling you the sky is falling. This is Robert Deutsch not being a chicken and telling you the sky stuff up here is falling out over Grafton, Ballina, Tweed's Head. Look at how straight this line of stuff is here. Look at it. What does it look like? What does it look like? Looks like this. Same type deployments. Same type thing. Same type thing. I'm going to keep referencing these pictures here. Same type thing. Same look. Not puffy, white, happy clouds. This is the sickness mix. You are being warned by me. It's right. I ain't a chicken. And this here chem line is underneath this cloud of stuff that's been deployed and falling out. And when you look in real close, you can start to see the coma-like features, the like here the bomb, there the bomb. And if I can get Mr. Squiggles out, then we'll start doing this thing we call proving things, or creating the correlations that bear royal commissions, further investigation, these type things. And I'm looking at this subject here, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Percussion ring blowing it out. Flow comes in. So that causes vortices, like directional changes in clouds. And this one here will be doing that. Remember, you got to know your hots and your cold and what way do they turn. If I warm something up in this hemisphere, which way does it turn? Clockwise. Counterclockwise, excuse me. I would throw those backwards. But these vortices here, where you got a smoke ring, right? It goes like ever blow a smoke ring across the room. Well, if you look at it sideways, it's got vortices, and it's moving along with a hole in it. So it's like blowing a smoke ring out and up. So these cause very big effects, and as you look through these cloud masses here, you'll see these type formations all over. And where did these particles come from? What Dutch particle is it? Is it a nanoparticle? Is it a preformed particle? Is it something that they talk about in the Paris Agreement? Excuse me, dear. And I don't know how long this show is going to go today. I just know it's going to do its thing. Big squares here. Another blown out area here where the particles are coming from. The jet planes are going underneath this. You ever been on a flight, you're going about 40,000 feet, 39,000 feet, and you look up above you and the sky looks smashed like this? Well, this is the balloon method. And they can have big gondolas. CIGI 111. And when you go to the Paris Governance Agreement governance document, which I show you endlessly, and I'm happy to provide these for you, because this is, how we do things around here. We show you why we say stuff, and we do it calmly, in a prove me wrong kind of way. You want to shoot the truth out of me too? It don't make you any more correct. It don't make the Simpsons any less correct about a guy named Mr. Burns trying to block the sun. There it is. Here's his name. And believe me, he's got a paper that's referenced in here too. He's a vested interest in this program of disasters that he's selling. But if you look over here on page 13 of that document I just provided you with, very first paragraph, last sentence, just remember that. First paragraph, last sentence, you see the following words. Potential delivery vehicles for stratospheric sulfur dioxide injection. No, I'm not talking silver iodide like they always say. Sulfur dioxide, something that's known to make acid rain, something that's known to defoliate, something that we fought in the 70s and had Clean Air Acts and stuff to make sure acid rain did not occur again. What are they talking about putting in the air? And they include aircraft, artillery shells, and stratospheric balloons. Now combine stratospheric balloons, artillery shells, and aircraft, and you can have a gondola up there with drones at it with flares with various chemicals in them. And some of the auroras we're seeing are very indicative of the colors that's given off by chemicals when they go plasmonic and actually emit their photons. Yeah, vibrating, man, big vibes. If you look down here at another one, I find rather alarming. There's some of these references down here, right, where you see this U.S. House Committee one, and it says suggestions of injecting preformed particles. That's what I'm talking about, preformed particles of what? Titanium oxide. Now that's not silver iodide, like you always hear from the. And this ain't even cloud seeding. This is cloud creation. This is geoengineering. Hey, this is big stuff. Yeah, this is not cool. Reading that to get more control over the process, effectuating. I mean, it's also very good at conducting EMF, but not as good as barium and strontium is, right? Albedo is with the reflection factor of stuff back out into space. So they don't call it blocking the sun, they call it reflecting it away. I mean, come on. Get pissed on our backs and tell us it's raining somewhere. So really, this is a very important document, and this will be about the cloud brightening. Somebody talks about mirrors and space-based things. That was a real funny one, actually. The suggestions of putting 55,000 mirrors in random orbits or creating a ring dust of particles like glass in the sky. Well, they have sprayed diamond dust, and that's a documented thing. And I think it was a Harvard guy that did that one. I won't get totally into that. As you go in here, you see the rolls of sunshades, but that's like 55,000 mirrors in space. It's not a sun simulator. You would see the backside of them as black dots. And well, if one of those mirrors breaks, who gets the bad luck? The whole planet? I don't want to risk that kind of thing. How about you? So I'm going to turn that part off of that now, because it just disgusts me. And this is from a long time ago, 2016. This document's been out. So don't tell me it's no. And this is some of the sickness mix here going over between Brisbane, Harvey Bay out here in the hinterland, where so many beautiful animals are not even getting a chance to have a sunny day down here, because that's done right before right at sunset. I imagine your sunsets, if you got to see it, were very, very deep reds and funky colors today. But even this here shows plenty of chem, like a comet. You know, you got something, and then it causes an effect. Something is deployed, and it fizzes off into the distance. Deploy, fizz, deploy, fizz. Make a cloud. Mr. Squiggles here. Look at this. Going do like that. It's a bit wide. It's a bit non-existent. How about that? Oh yeah, I like that better. Let's get rid of these big fat juicy lines. Then we get stuff squiggling like this. You got this one here, like doing an M&M. That's not natural. Come on, look at this here. You believe in naturally occurring cloud formations. I still believe they exist, but when I start seeing W's like this, I start thinking, oh man, something's controlled and moving along. And drones can do this very easily. Drone swarms on a platform that can then charge very easily, just using autonomous things that we've wanted creation, because we're such lazy fuckers. We want everything done for us. Camera right there, mapped out. So I'm just looking at where the chemicals come from, what's falling out, what took a right turn, Clyde, what blew a hole out there, what did it? We deserve an honest answer to this, but all the litigation of it is well documented. And go over that document and read it. Read the peer-reviewed articles there that say they don't know what kind of harm it's going to do, but they're doing it anyhow. They're doing it anyhow. There's whales along here in its coastlines. Yeah, their blowholes are filling with that fallout. It's terrible. There could be a mass extinction going on, and we can't see it. There was so much chem deployed today that I changed directions of what kind of show I was going to do. You look at the EMF signatures in this here, all these crisscross lines here, like that, with chemical catalysts in the sky, absolutely choking you out. Yeah, I'm very, very, very upset knowing that my friends are breathing this today. And then it's going to get blamed on something that's going to sell a vaccine or digital ID, track your ass and march you down the street, say you were standing next to somebody that was sick. Well, this is what's causing it, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a doctor, you know. I have the same medical degree as Bill Gates, right, which is fuck all. But I don't have a vested interest in this. Look at this, looking like a boogeyman. Not Halloween. And it's come by, something's come from here and deployed, obviously. It's the epicenter of the activity. And it could be very high up, and stuff just goes down at an angle. You know, they pick a vector the way it goes. It's not what that's called, a vector. Ooh, there's Moloch. Use your imaginary. What would you say to something is here deploying? Pow, 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 pow. Na 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 na. Not funny. It is. It's fucking disgusting seeing this in this guy. I'm trying to have the strength to get through this broadcast today. There's a lot of places I love here affected by this. Look at how hazed out that look. That's got that aluminum hydroxide look to this guy, so I have to be careful I don't close the right screen. And that's 2016, the filth. And the day after, the filth. Just like we're seeing now, just like we see today, like we see yesterday. So I am warning you guys, be careful, stay inside. I would suggest staying inside. You can't tape your windows and live in a bubble. But my God, you can avoid doing that super run where you're breathing extra amounts of this thing. Was really bad yesterday. I feel bad for servers and people are out, and then it's the weekend. And you're going to be out with the kids. You're going to go visit these beautiful parks. And then what do they do to them? Yeah. Double got smoked. Fucking Tamworth, my gosh, they did everything here but put a devil words on top of this, because it ended up looking like a pentagram when I seen it going by on satellite image. I had difficulty going live when I loaded the screens yesterday to show you this proper, like, by the time I got it on. And not to mention the fires themselves. You see the color of this crap? There's nothing burning out here, but this looks like what you would see when they're burning things. So that's telling me they're burning something in the sky. Because I'm not a fool. I know Liverpool won, but have to put the liver bird in the air? Or is that just the bird of freedom flying away and leaving a giant shark all over the land of Australia? I don't know. Your sky damn sure looks pretty shardy to me. Nice curved line to this, like it was engineered to happen. Sure, yeah, sure. All these boom, boom plumes just along a plotted line of existence. Geoengineering is real. It's litigated. And sadly, your green taxes are going towards doing stuff that's defoliating our land. It's killing my trees. It's killing my bees. And I will not be silent while they're fouling the breeze. How about you? And then there's today. Yeah, this is like describing the angel of death. This is going over that. There's masses of stuff here. Masses. There's different layers of the atmosphere, you know. Going down here, I'll show you. I can see it plain as day. You got about 3 layers, and as one moves under the other. Come on, get up there, my friend Squiggles. As one moves under the other, you start generating electrical potential. You get this mass here, right? I'm going to do different colors. Here we go with this one here. And this one here is going to make that chemtrail line here. There's a chemtrail line here. Now that is under Let's do a more friendly purple nurple here. And this line here is actually over the top of that one. Alright? Now this chemtrail here, this orange thing, everybody's going, oh my god, I hate the planes and this and that, is all it's doing is flying underneath two huge carpet layers of carpet bomb fallout. Okay, so the particles going in its engine will naturally condensate because it's hotter, and the conditions of humidity and stuff are just right to yield what would be a contrail. However, the big con is that these things are persistent and they're natural. They're not. They're lasting and blocking the sun. They are changing the albedo as wanted, like that one. But all these other ones are above it, so the particles are there. All the jet has to do is go through it and manufacture this result like that. And they're designed to do that. They're designed with the high bypass air going past these modern things. They will still catalyze and nucleate condensates. They will. They'll catalyze barium salts, which they're very hexagonal looking. And it's sulfurous looking. I circled that there. So different layers of the atmosphere. So I don't think there's always nozzles on the end of the freaking jet plane. Sure, the ones on the ends can vent fuel. Yeah, that is known. But I do think nowadays things have changed. It isn't like the cloud seeding of that little jet plane you show me on the runway. That's a different thing altogether. It's a fire, isn't it? And there are fires out there that can be changing some of the colors here. And I'm not going to get into that. I got too upset. I hope that you understand that part about the planes. And they're just a manufacturer. They're just the heat that was needed for the particle. A microwave can do it as well. A microwave can vibrate a particle until it gets hot. Like these ones over here, out to sea here. Right? But it still took chemical catalysts, like the shape here, and other things like that were deliberately deployed to produce those effects. And what is going to lead to some nasty weather, and there's some more chemtrails. But we know that this was going over the top of it. Why? Could we use our fucking head? We also look at data that shows different layers of the atmospheres and dust and whatever. And there's places to find these. Look for them if you care. Don't expect me to give you lessons and everything I know. Especially when right now they're after my websites and stuff I use, showing you minimum. Much, and this is going over the top of that white one. Yep. Getting fried, getting sprayed. Here's a big fryer here. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Getting fried straight style. See the curve to that? That'll pretty much be honing in on the next rad that's doing this. You can really draw the lines of it and tell where it's going. About there. Scalar Square over Melbourne here, where they got a lot of devices there. Any at the airport, there's military stuff, there's ships in harbors, there's lies being told. Yep. They're doing this because we let them. Never ever think you can't affect change. Just because you're told a little old ant can't move a rubber tree plant, don't mean that ant can ask for no help. Right? As we're looking at some of the 2016 deployments that led to the death of people, looking very similar. It's a very upsetting day for me to see that I have not succeeded in getting this stopped. But you know what? I'm still here. I am not silent. How about you? And I'm getting pretty upset. I can roll through the weather forecast. This is fair accurate. Up to the next 2 days. So let me show you. New Zealand watch. Okay, big windies coming for South Island, expected. There's no radar on currently on Westland, so they've amped up Gisborne and New Plymouth radar, and that's why that flow is pinning like that, and your ears are probably ringing like fucking Takaka and Collinwood, and that because of the radar activity there has to make that happen. When you're moving molecules, they'll make a sound known as infrasonic undulations. Like crazy waveforms with sound, and sound is heat. It can transfer into heat or cold, depending on which waveform you use. Are you slowing down a molecule or speeding it up? Right? That's very important to note. So don't tell me a laser can't cause snow. It's because you think a laser's hot. Not all plasmas are hot either. I notice. It's a big toxic airtime. Oh, wait, that ain't even moved. Fuck, you know. Well, let's move it ourselves. Moving, rolling, rolling. Cold air and the heat up north. Yeah, lots of thunderstorms being held off coast up there, Queensland. You ought to be glad about that. It was not so happy times here for, God, poor Tassie. Yeah, you get a dry day on overnight hours of Sunday. It might even get a little bit clearer. And if you see some of the stars, maybe in sunrise there time, see one of the comets, that if you believe they're all racing toward us for different directions. Yeah, I'll tell you, they lie to us like hell. Yeah, they'll come up with new cloud names. They'll call it thunderstorm asthma after I called it chem bomb asthma and predicted in advance. And then people die. Very, very sad to see this again. I was in tears over this. It's very hard for me, being an empath. Yeah, sometimes it's easier not to give a fuck. Well, you understand, we can't have this cup taken from us. We already know. We've already drank the truth from the tree of life, and we've got to act like it. Yeah, as we heading in here through into this is probably about Tuesday at lunchtime for you, Tassie. Ooh, winter comes. More wintry mix there, South Island, New Zealand. Yeah, that's not going to do good for the buds on the cherry trees, is it? The endless wets. Yeah, it'll be wet spring. And this is all through the week. It's going to lead us some fair totals as we get in towards the beginning of the month. Look at this. It's just a never-ending story. I'm gonna cut it off about the 5th because, well, the wet. And I'm not in agreement with the arrival time of that moisture. And we'll know more as we get closer to the time. But wet, windy is to be expected. You start adding sickness mix, and it's coming across the ocean. You're breathing it next, Auckland. You're getting it next. And again, totals are very fucking high. I'm trying not to swear. Can't help it. It's a disease. I can help it when I type. And typing Tourette's does not exist. You should have the decency to correct yourself if you're embarrassed. But anyways, yeah, there's a bit of a trough issue coming here. It makes sense. There's so much chem, though. When you see that much chem and you don't see rain for a week, boy, is your fire risk high. And I haven't looked today to see what that looks like, because that's even more upsetting. More upsetting when you see the fires. I haven't looked today. It takes a lot of data to load this. So we take a chance. Let's have a peek. Oh, yes. Let's go have a look out here. I've been keeping an eye on this fire line. Oh, yeah, nothing to see here, folks. Dodgy distance fire still going on. Is there any difference? Oh, my, look at that. What's the difference between day and night? Okay, all of these fires were daytime. The Terminator. The dog. Take your dog for a walk. From Doge to dog. Yeah, that's what I suspect. That's almost following a road. Is that going by an escarpment or something? Is this visiting any particular mines? Are all these lines pointed towards a town that's been wanted? I can't tell if that's valleys filled with smoke or not. Like the face of death down. Of course, that's like a movie advert, that, isn't it? The Boogeyman. Fire Marshal Bill out there. That's my imaginary. I'm just having a peek at some of the fires. Any difference night and day on this either? It's all daytime burn, that one. Which is weird. What is it, rolling dice out here? Yeah, they are. Dodgy distances, just right around there. Perfect angles on that dangle. Come on, Egan, scream about it. Come on, Bozy, scream about this. There's animals dying out here. It's one of the largest indigenous communities in the world still left, and they're burning them out. I'm telling them it's not, that it's natural or something. Unless this is the most accurate controlled birding situation I've ever seen. How does the animal in here get out? Or the person? I don't think they do. I don't think they're wanted. You can't glean the land as much then, can you? I'm getting upset. It's going to be a sudden clicking off of this video. Again, that angle. But that distance is the same as that distance to there is the same as that distance there. Now this distance to this is the same as this distance to this. Something is burning you out very regular. Either that or diarrhea. Somebody's walking along and it can only take a certain number of steps before out it comes. So yeah, there's some of that coloration is from smoke from fires. But again, what do you see here? How the hell does that distance and that distance of that squares look the same that far apart? Cocoa State Forest. Oh no. That's cocoa. Somebody wants some fame. It's an age test. And again, that same pattern there. Same pattern. Same distances. You're going to have to go look and do your measuring. You're going to have to act like you give a shit about this state forest that I'm showing you. This is absolutely terrible. You're getting burned out. You're getting sprayed, and they're going to tell you it's some kind of new variant. No, it ain't a new variant. They ain't varied from the course at all. You better look into Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21 while you can. It ain't a smart city when a bunch of dumb people agree to be spied upon. It's not a smart device in your head if it's being used to sell you lies. And when I put it on my video up on YouTube, I'll get things telling you, this is what climate change is. You know what climate change is? It's a fucking lie. They are spraying us like bugs. They are sickening us. And as in 2016, as is today, we will say, no more, no more. Are we the system's heart? This is a toxic air alert. Take it how you will. I give a fuck. Stay safe. Peace.